YouTube, Untamed here. The Toyota Tundra engine blunders continue. If you guys have been following my channel for any length of time, I've been knocking the Toyota Tundra long before it became popular to knock on the Toyota Tundra. The Tundra here has been a huge flop for a number of reasons. I personally bought one, tried one out, a Tundra TOD Pro, and I didn't like it for several reasons. The turning radius is awful. It's a sea of plastic on the interior and exterior. The price tags have shot to the moon. Many of these examples behind me are in the $70,000 plus range now for a Toyota Tundra. So the price tags are up, a sea of plastic, the quality is down, and well, the cherry on top is the engine failures. This right here, compared to the V8 previous generation, is a huge flop. I think a lot of us can agree on that now. Originally, I caught a lot of flack from the die-hard Toyota fanboys when I was very honest with my thoughts and opinions on this vehicle, but now with these additional engine blunders piling up, unfortunately, I think the majority now believe that this really is a hot piece of trash. In today's video, I'm going to dissect the issue a little bit more, highlight how people are being notified, and really what's to come in the future. So stick with me as we talk through it all. Toyota claims that they left machining debris within the engines of these Toyota Tundras and the LXs and the GX. The vast majority of the 127,000 units added to the recall are, of course, the Tundra. Just a fun fact for you, 40%, just over 40% of all of Toyota's current inventory within the United States are Toyota Tacomas and Toyota Tundras. 40% between those two vehicles. So that just tells you they put a lot of eggs in the basket when it comes to this truck here. They know that Americans love the Tundra, they love the Tacoma, they always have. That's why this is so bad for the brand. This is tarnishing Toyota's brand reputation tremendously within the United States, within the North American market, of course, right? And that's a huge shame. I don't want to see that from Toyota. I want Toyota to get it right. I want them to put together great vehicles that are simplistic, affordable, and reliable. That's what they've always been, but they've deviated so much from that. Not to mention, when you look at a new current generation Toyota Tundra right next to a previous generation Tundra, the previous gen just looks like a brute. It looks like a total bruise, muscular, a nice stocky stance to it. And this just looks like a, I don't know, watered down, neutered version of what it once was. And let's face it, I think Toyota has done that really for much of their lineup. The Toyota Land Cruiser, of course, you know, the Toyota 4Runner, the 6th generation 4Runner, the Tacoma, they all feel like just watered down versions of the previous self. They're all castrated at this point. You can't help but feel that way. I seriously cannot remember the last time that I went to any Toyota dealership and did not see a huge lineup of unsold Toyota Tundras. Really, that's been throughout the last 2-3 years now. Just a huge lineup of these new generation Tundras always sitting for sale. Not to mention, you always see a bunch of lightly used Toyota Tundras and Tacomas sitting for sale on dealership lots. Toyota massively overproduces the Tundra here, and they massively overproduce the Toyota Tacoma here. That's why they try the best to have the largest footing and footprint within the segments here. The Toyota Tacoma now sports a turbocharged 4-cylinder made entirely out of Mexico. There's a number of reasons to not love this platform here. And well, when you look at the lightly used examples, you can tell a lot of people are abandoning it pretty quick. If you guys have been following my channel for a while, you know that I actually owned this exact Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. I had a 2023. Quote unquote back in the day. I tried my best to like this vehicle. I tried my best. I'm a Toyota enthusiast. I truly am. That's where my heart is at. But this here just felt far too different comparatively to what I had before. And that was the previous generation V8 Tundra. That 5.7 liter V8 had so much drama to it. The TRD catback exhaust, it just roared to life. It was never wicked fast or anything, of course. And of course, the specs on this hybridized iForce Max are far superior comparatively to that V8 Tundra. But that's not why I bought it, and that's not why a lot of people buy their Toyota Tundra. They buy it for that reliability, the simplicity, and that just overall peace of mind, right? And not to mention the affordability. Let's look at the price tag on this. Let me remind you of how much a new Tundra TRD Pro is going to run you. So we have $75,483 for this 2026 Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. That right there is $20,000 more, $21,000 more than what I paid for my 2021. My Lunar Rock Tundra TRD Pro brand new. The MSRP was $54,000 on that thing. But here we are. This one isn't even sporting that TRD Performance badge. That package, that will up it over 80 grand. Pretty wild, huh? Those of you who don't know, the engine debris leads to a main crankshaft bearing failure. which is a huge component within the truck, of course, causing that loss of motive power. The hybridization to these vehicles still allows the vehicles to move kind of in a limp mode based entirely on the electric power of the hybrid, but the actual engine itself will fail with that main crankshaft bearing failure. The Tundra in particular sports a twin-turbo V6 now, the iForce or an iForce Max version of it. Here we have a hybridized iForce Max, hybrid twin-turbo V6, non-hybrid. You get the little badge up top here. To me, when I had my Tundra TRD Pro, my 2023, it just felt hugely synthetic. And I think that's the best way to describe it. When you put your foot on a brake and then push to start the vehicle, it just kind of buzzes to life. And if you've owned a V8 Tundra before, you know that there's always a lot of drama to that V8. And it just felt, I don't know, it felt very truck-like. It felt tough. It felt rugged. Whereas this, it just never felt the part to me. It never felt like it earned that Tundra nameplate. And I know that ruffled a lot of feathers for folks early on, because here I bought this vehicle and I didn't like it, and I was very honest and open about it. Toyota didn't like me being open and honest about it either, for the record, but that's how it is. And now, well, here we have it. This vehicle here is hugely unpopular with true Toyota enthusiasts now. Me, I'm just pretty disappointed to see the price tags on them now. Here we have an example, just under $72,000 for a 1794 edition. Crew Max here. This one's not even sporting that hybridized iForce Max. The engine debris issue can lead to the engine not starting for you, of course, a loss of motive power, or a full engine seizure. And what they're doing is they're beginning to notify the additional added people to the safety recall. They're notifying folks between now and January 2026. So a lot of people I've actually seen are getting notified right now already. So if you have a 2024 unit, you're going to get notified either through the app or of course, via mail. So be on the lookout for it if you happen to have a 24. Called it early on. I knew for a fact that this had to include the 2024 units. People online were claiming that their 24s were experiencing the same exact engine failures. So it was already happening. It was just Toyota trying to still sell their unsold 2024 units, get them off dealership lots entirely, move that inventory and up their sales numbers. That's what they're trying to do. Right? So that's why they didn't include it. Because if they had to include it, what would that have forced? It would have forced a stop sale on all of their unsold 2024 units, and that would have been hugely, hugely detrimental to the brand and their sales figures for the year. Especially when they like to beat their chest on how many Tundras that they sell and how many Tacomas that they sell. They love doing that. So that's why they didn't do it. They want to move the inventory and then give you the notice that, hey, you might have to get your engine replaced here soon. That's what they're doing. A lot of the people who have the engine debris issue, safety recall, attached to your VIN number, you'll likely get a new crate engine from Toyota. That's what they're doing. So that is a huge job. And for me personally, I have a bit of OCD, knowing that my entire engine of my truck has been taken out, removed, and that is a huge process, by the way, huge, as you'd imagine, huge process getting that engine out of there, then putting a new crate engine in it. I don't know. I don't like that idea that my vehicle's been violated. That's not the right word, but you know what I'm getting at. I don't like knowing that it isn't just fresh how it was from the factory, but no, we just had some Joe Blow at some Toyota dealership swap out my engine. I don't know. I don't feel great about that. Are they that certified? That well certified? I've seen a lot of Toyota technicians. I don't think I have the most confidence in what I see more often than not. I would like to know exactly who's putting it in. Are they credible? Have they done it before? I'll admit to you guys, although I've dogged the Toyota Tundra after having owned it, a part of me wants them to fix it. I want them to fix these issues that have driven all these problems. I want them to put a V8 underneath the hood. Imagine that. You can't say that's impossible. EPA restrictions, blah, 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 blah. It is certainly possible. Look at other vehicle manufacturers. Look at Ram. They brought back the Hemi V8. Why can't Tundra bring back their 5.7 liter V8? They absolutely can. Has nothing to do with the EPA restrictions at this point. It's just really it consists of how much money can the brand, Toyota, rake in with their green credits, their carbon credits that they get from the government subsidies. That's all it's about, right? But them forcing these smaller displacement engines, hybridizing everything, they get more green credits from the government. So it's easy money for them. That's why they did it. Now, as I wrap up the video here, it does beg the question, so many of these Tundras are experiencing engine failure at various mileage points, right? We're talking like 2,000 miles I'm seeing 25,000 miles, 50,000, up to 100,000 miles, the same issue. Now, would engine debris truly cause that engine to fail 100,000 miles later? I don't know, I have a hard time believing that. And you can't help but wonder if it truly is a design or engineering flaw within these vehicles. I'm kind of starting to lean that direction. They're obviously, pinning it up and chalking it up to engine debris causing the issue, but it might be bigger than that, guys. What do you think on that? And honestly, it won't be long until 2025s are looped in. We are already seeing a bunch of people experiencing the same exact engine failures with their 2025 models. So really, it's just a matter of time until they loop that in. They're going to likely do what they did last year. They're going to wait till all the 25s are sold off the dealership lots and then loop in the 2025 units that are undoubtedly going to be suffering from the same issue. Wrap up the video there, guys. I don't want to be chalked up to a Toyota hater, but Toyota's making it pretty easy. It's easy to jump to a different brand right now, unfortunately. But I wish I could go out and buy a new Tundra TRD Pro in that mud bath color. I love the look of them. If they had a 5.7 liter V8 underneath the hood, maybe they did something to improve that turn radius, I'd be all about it. I'd put my money down on one right now, even with their current prices, if it had a V8 and a better turn radius. What would you do? Always, if you appreciate this type of content, please consider liking and subscribing. Your support means a ton, and I promise you it doesn't go unnoticed. Till next time.